Wrestling fans, welcome to another edition of Sunday Night Watch-Along. Right now, Dan Marotti is not with me next to me in the chair, but he is with me in the other room, in the control room right now, working up some technical issues. We're going to be joining each other. He's going to be joining me momentarily. Again, we're just going to kind of wait just a few more minutes, and then we're going to start the show. Shorter show tonight. It's going to be in your house from Louisville, Kentucky in February of 96. Actually, I think it was February 27th of 96 this show took place, if I'm not mistaken. So 26 years ago, I believe. Anyway, we're going to be going live pretty soon with the show. We're just waiting momentarily. We're going to wait for some people to get in the chat room. I don't think anyone's in the chat room yet, but momentarily some people should be. Dano, you sent a link in that old chat, right? Okay, great. All right, there's no one in the chat room yet, but we're just going to wait. All right, good. Anyone out there that's thinking about Xing out, just sit back. I know we had technical difficulties. Let's go live at 6. John C. was not here. I guess John C. left us hanging. Then had to call him and give him a promo on the phone, and hopefully we're up and running in just a few minutes. Again, Dan is just fixing a couple of things. They're coming in now. All right. Hey, Matt, how's it going? Wait, everyone, please come in. As soon as you're here, just let me know you're here. Exactly, a hearty hello would be nice. We're watching February of 96 in your house 6. It's Bret Hart and Diesel for the WWF Championship in a cage. This is, I think, one of the last big blue cages they used back in the day. So that'll be interesting. I think they stopped using that cage in 96, actually. I think by 97 they'd gone to the mesh cage. My mic needs some work. You know, might be, Matt, the way where it is. I always never liked the mic position. Dan, how's my mic? One. Am I too far away from it? Can you hear it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, good. All right. All right, good. Again, guys, just start sitting around, get a drink, get something to eat if you want. We're going to be going live with the show in a few minutes. Again, I apologize for a late start. There's the link. And again, if you're at home, it's In Your House 6. You can search In Your House and just pick the second season, and it's the very first episode of the second season of In Your House. In Your House, it started the earlier year, the previous year in 1995. I think it was the summer of 95, they started doing In Your House, kind of to make more of a monthly pay-per-view schedule as opposed to just 4 pay-per-view events a year because WCW was doing monthly pay-per-views. So this was a real change in the wrestling business because now instead of the big 4 pay-per-views, you had monthly, which was good in some ways and, well, not so good in others. And we could talk about that a little bit more when Dan gets on set. Anyone have a good weekend? Or a bad weekend? You know, did you escape from someone's basement?
Do you have baby-sized teeth, the size of birdseed?
Did someone attack you with bird-sized teeth?
All right.
And here he comes, Mr. America.
As John Nord would say, folks, we're off to the races.
You love John Nord.
Yes, I do. All right. I'll be coming round the mountain when I come. That's what she said.
All right.
All right, I think, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait, well, I hear my loud mouth.
I hear my mic is muffled.
No,
you know what?
Not anymore.
Hold on.
You're worried that it is muffled.
A little bit. You know what? This is part for my.
That nice sweater that doesn't say Wilson Construction.
can never get this.
Now, what about old bastard Murphy? Does he tune into these?
How's my mic now?
Woo!
Or Phil, how's my mic now? How's my mic now to anyone? Might be my placement. Danny Jimenez, you are muffled, CW.
You know what? I'm going to get you a fresh pair of batteries.
Yeah, that might be it.
I'm going to get you fresh, because that's one thing I didn't do today, even though I didn't have any help, because John C. Manicus Riley vanished. But I tell you this, Charlie, we may have a new Bozak coming to help. All right. I'm sure you're familiar with the world-famous cleaning ladies that come every other Sunday. For some reason, they were here for back-to-back Sundays, which was a real thrill for me in the good mood I was in this morning. And one of them actually has a video production background and was interested in coming down. So I said she was more than welcome. I said, maybe you can do the video production and I'll do the cleaning. So, and you know who the grandmother is. I've told you about her. Grandpa from the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know if you remember when they wheeled Grandpa downstairs. That's who she reminds me of.
Oh, I do remember that scene.
Yes, yes.
Great movie.
Yes. And Grandpa comes to the studio to supervise. I don't really say much in the way of English.
Don't let him suckle on your arm.
Well, it'd be interesting to have some female help down here at the studio. Hopefully you and John C. Manicus Riley can behave yourself around the females. I don't know. I know how to be a gentleman. Please.
John C. around the females, huh?
The ladies' man that he is, they see that hair and they go wild.
Yeah, they go rough.
The mother might see him though and think, geez, if we turned him upside down, maybe we could use him as one of the mops. All right, fans, if you haven't done it yet, head on over to WWE Network. Type it in your house. We are looking at season 2. It says 7 episodes. Scroll all the way down to the bottom for the one that says in your house 6. Bret Hart defends the WWE Championship in a steel cage versus Diesel. We're going to be watching it live. Charlie Wilson, are you set, my friend?
I think so, guys. How's my mic now? Is my mic a little bit better now? Anything better now?
I didn't think it sounded all that bad to begin with. But...
Let me see what's going on with that. Hold on. I'm gonna see.
Oh, John C. is in the chat.
Is he?
I don't know. I thought you said C.
I didn't know that he was in the chat.
He might have an alias for all we know.
So, guys, does the mic sound better? A little bit better. I think the mic's okay.
All right. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we like to do it. We like to go into the video program itself and give it the old 3, 2, 1, play. So we're just starting to get rolling here. All right. So we'll do it. We're in your house 6, labeled season 2, episode 1 on Peacock for whatever ridiculous reason. And we're going to be going live to watch along on this Road to WrestleMania 12 event in 3, 2, 1, go! Click, for Christ's sakes.
Oh,
all right,
go.
Close enough. Now I can sit down and enjoy the festivities and try and get the Facebook work done. Oh, fuck!
Potty mouth can.
I'm having a major CRPS attack. For the fans that watch Oscar's podcast tomorrow night and the marathon we have with New Jack on Tuesday, you will hear it very much so. Look at Sonny. Pre-73rd arrest.
Yeah, what do you think about her newest arrest?
Oh, we talk about that this week on Wrestling Insiders with Oscar. Just sad that someone that has something to offer the industry, letting it go to waste over drugs and alcohol.
What does she have to offer the industry now, though?
I think she's a very smart woman.
Calculated.
In the business, in the wrestling business, I think she's very smart. In her real life, I think she's proven otherwise, to be kind. But you know what? While I got to remember where we left off. with Mr. Nord. Did you guys enjoy being with John Nord this past week? J-Rob, I apologize for using the foul language. I'm in a lot of pain, believe me. I should not be here. John Cena is having his spring piece produced tonight. He's not he's gonna be with
Phil,
us.
does the mic still sound a little bit low? I guess the mic is a little bit lower than yours.
Phil's busy with the lads tonight. I don't know if he's going to join us.
Well, you know, Phil is a busy man, and we had a nice chat earlier. And
All right, baby, here we go. This Phil driving out of his house at Melrose.
why wasn't John C here today?
He didn't tell me, other than he forgot. There's a coked up Vinnie Mac giving us the hot open. I loved his opens.
Oh, I think he needs to be doing the opens now.
Compared to ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest extravaganza in sports entertainment. Oh,
Michael Cole.
please. Yes.
And there's
When Pat McAfee called him the greatest announcer in the history of sports entertainment Friday night, I almost puked.
well, sports entertainment maybe, but not pro wrestling. McAfee's really good. I actually like him.
At least you can tell he cares
Yeah.
and he's passionate. You can't take that away from the guy.
As you would say, yeah.
I would say, yeah.
You would say, yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
All right.
Like Sonny, she's really smart. Yeah. Okay. Oh, the bad guy in one of his last appearances, right?
Yes, his second to last pay-per-view in WWE is WWF, I should say, is Razor Ramon.
I wonder how this character would have evolved in 97, 98, 99.
It would have needed a little involvement.
It's almost like he left at the best time. It really did.
Just odd that he failed that drug test as soon as he gave his notice, but
A little weird. And then they tried to turn the kid heel, which wasn't a.
until they started this nonsense with him, when they first put him in part of Ted DiBiase's corporation, say
Late 95. Right?
October of 95, for a while it was effective. I like the dynamic of him and Sid together as a tag team.
As like Sid's little toady, maybe. Yeah.
But I think they had an idea that he was going to be gone in May when his contract was up to. So they figured, why push him? That's why they put him in this baby match or whatever. I don't remember what this was even described as. For Sunday. Can you carry this for a few minutes, Mr. Wilson, as I try and spread the word?
He's wearing a hidden microphone. Should I just get a new microphone?
If you want to.
I think I'm going to get a new microphone, guys. I don't think
Try number 6 is one that usually works well. So lower the level that says 4, raise the one that says 6 like it's erect.
All the way on 6.
Probably like just look at where 4 is and just figure probably about 80% of the way. What did you guys think of the 1-2-3 Kid as a heel? I always loved the 1-2-3 Kid. I loved him as X-Pac. I think he's one of the most underrated professional wrestlers of the past 30 years. I really do. I think if he was around nowadays, he would look enormous compared to a lot of the guys on the roster. He's not that much, height-wise, not that much smaller than me. He's not very thick, but that's just his build. But then again, how many guys in WWE today are very thick? I think he's thicker than Seth Rollins, but you have a little teddy bear there. Well, I think this was part of WWF's problem in 1996. I don't know how many people were interested in seeing the diaper match between Razor Ramon and the 1-2-3 Kid. Unless maybe you had some kind of a basement fetish for it.
Okay, I think, let me see.
Well, we'll see how you sound in a minute.
All right, new
And
microphone.
watch.
Hopefully everything sounds good.
You always sound good.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
And it's funny, just about 3 years after the fact, the man that put the Kid on the map, here they are in reverse roles with the Kid as the heel and Razor Ramon is the baby face. That was the feud that got our good friend War Raider Viking, or whatever the hell is. What's their name? Viking Raider Ivar.
Yeah.
Made him a wrestling fan. Was that feud?
Did you say that the kid is thicker than Seth Rollins?
I think so.
At this point? Not at this point. No.
In '98, yeah, when he was a little bit more gassed up.
Rollins is pretty thick.
No, he's not.
He's thick. Wait, are you talking right now or a few years ago?
Ever.
I think he looked better. I think you're not. I think you're underselling
Seth
Rollins.
Rollins?
Yeah, he's a little bit bigger. I think in terms of thickness.
Maybe I need new glasses.
Yeah, I really think.
I'm not talking about those pictures that leaked online.
I thought he looked good in those pictures, personally.
Well, I didn't really judge.
I mean, listen, I'm not one to judge. I mean, I'm starting to get a little pudgy. I'm starting to look like '93 Shawn Michaels around SummerSlam time.
Well, you get that picture on Facebook where it looks like you're on the gas.
You know where that picture was from?
The beach.
Yes, South Carolina. But that was before I got into my motorcycle accident.
Oh.
And then I stopped working out because my shoulder injury. So I kind of gained probably like 7-8 pounds from that picture.
7 or 8 whole pounds, huh?
I'm just guessing, yeah. So am I looking at male thickness, J-Rob? Of course. Why? Who doesn't look at male thickness? Though I do like a lean individual as well. Don't get me wrong.
You know, if the fan that is out here that sent me the gift, I would love to thank you. I think I know who it is, but I don't want to thank someone without knowing for sure. But someone, as you know, was kind enough to send me a package of love in the mail here at MWF Studios.
I heard about that.
You saw it? You saw the picture
and you told me about it, and I thought
very excited.
It was a nice person. That wasn't cheap, I'm sure.
Well, you know what? That's why, as I always say, if you're good to wrestling fans will be good to you. They appreciate everything we put forth to make these sometimes off-the-rail productions a reality. We're sorry we were so late. We're sorry we had to switch links, but
maybe John, maybe this is I'm not surprised, this happened, to be honest with you.
Should we find John C. Manicus?
Well, I heard on the dirt sheets that there was contract issues with John C.
Really?
That maybe John C. wasn't getting enough payment.
Really? Another one that's going to complain about that.
I mean,
mother of God.
I mean, I'm hoping you're paying John C. something for his time and troubles.
Friendship,
okay.
As the professor likes to say yesterday, as a matter of fact, these people need to realize what this place is all about. As he was not very happy with the birdseed wonder.
Well, what's the place about? Learning and friendship?
Well, it's a community television station that exists to produce content for any human being at will. Their payment is being able to use the studio.
I mean, Captain Lou did produce content, didn't he?
Not very good content, but
that's.
I think there's going to be a little heat on Lou Data for some content he produced that involved the N-word repeatedly. Repeated N-word usage.
Did he say the N-word himself? At least
no, he was laughing. He was going, like putting them over. Like he was having a little birdseed orgasm.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yes, Fox guy. I'm letting
43 pounds.
I am letting my locks grow. I don't know what I want to do with it. If I want to cut it or let it grow longer, we'll see what happens with it. I don't know if I'll ever get to look like what the 1-2-3 kid has, but maybe we'll try.
Well, that's an intense man, but I like him an awful lot.
Who, kid?
Yes.
Is he intense?
Very.
Really?
Very.
He gives me the vibe he's very laid back.
No, not at all.
Oh, wow.
For those fans that might want to know, but honestly, he's probably one of my favorites we've ever brought in. Even though we actually we got into an argument as a result of all people, fucking Piggott.
Piggott?
Fucking Piggott.
What did Piggott do?
He went berserk because he lost his cell phone and didn't realize it until after our Kowloon adventure that night.
Oh.
And I had gone off with an individual named Boopak, Bobby Lashley, and Carlito.
Who's Boopak?
You've never met him.
Do I want to?
Nothing wrong with him. He kind of reminds me of him, which is why I gave him the name back in 98-ish. Boopak, yeah, when we were still in high school. But anyway, I didn't find out about the phone issue until much later in the night. He came and hung out in the room. May or may not have had some gimmick.
What year was this? 04, 05?
No. the night of Percy's wake. So March of 2013.
Did you have any good Percy stories?
Oh, yeah. But anyway, he didn't wind up going to bed until 8 in the morning. He was so nervous about it. So then Blue Park and I said, he's going to sleep anyway. Let's go see if we can find the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was the day after Pengate, when Piggott and I got into the battle at Memorial Hall when she hummed the pen at me.
Hummed a pen at you?
Yes, and I said, I don't even want to go in and see the fucking woman. And
I still think that she looks similar to John Cena Sr.'s woman
I thought
friend.
you were going to say John Cena Sr.
Well, that too. But she looks similar to John Cena Sr.'s. I wanted
You
to tell
need to get a good look without the mask on. It's more Mrs. Garrett from the Wonder Years.
I wonder what John Cena Sr.
I'm sorry, the facts of life.
I hope I don't have any heat with John Cena over that.
I don't know if he'd necessarily appreciate it, to be honest.
Well, I just don't want to have heat with him.
He's not me when it comes to the anger zone. He's
The
just a little icy. Or as John Nord would say, a little frosty. A little frosty.
He got his frosty.
Yeah, I'm glad someone did. Anyway, at least it wasn't Applebee's. But
Would you have been hot if that really happened? I think I could see your face.
You heard my message. That was my honest reaction.
I could imagine. It's not. No, I mean, honestly, like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't.
As you'll hear on the show, I said, what was I supposed to do? Call him and say, turn around and come and get me? So it's not like I was mad.
But imagine if Nord right then and there, as we drove off, yelled, "We're going to Applebee's."
We're going to get my frosty.
Oh God!
I tell you, you guys are in for some great content with John Nord. I know a lot of people enjoyed the most recent episode where he shoots on the Montreal Screwjob. And his frosty. He shoots on Jake the Snake. He's after everybody.
I still have to watch the video. I'm going to watch it as soon as
Which one?
The
Jake
one that
or
came out this
Montreal
past Thursday.
Screwjob.
I'll watch it.
Which one, though?
Montreal.
Well, the Jake one was pretty good, too.
Yes.
His good friend, Jake the Snake Roberts, that he buried.
I don't think he minds burying a friend because to him, it's the truth.
We got to get to the truth.
Is he the one featured legend that you're looking forward to most having? Or if you had to pick one, or you like them all?
In April?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I love Bob Orton. I love Demolition a great deal. You got to remember, I put them like Humpty Dumpty. After 17 years, I got them talking again. Who else is on the show?
Who did you get talking to again?
I'm sorry?
Who did you get to talk to again?
Axe and Smash.
Oh, they had a falling out?
Yes, they didn't speak for 18 years.
What was the reasoning?
There were a few things, but the big one was that Bill thought they were going to bury and destroy Demolition, and Demolition disagreed. And look at where Demolition was 6 months later after Axe left the company.
Oh, and it was just Crush and
Smash, yeah.
And what year? He left in 90, right?
His last night was the night The Undertaker debuted on TV at Survivor Series 90.
Late 90.
And he was right,
Because I can't remember them being really much of anything in the WWF tag scene after 90.
They didn't really do anything. They had an undercard match in 91 at WrestleMania.
88 to 90, they were like, pretty, they were definitely one of the top teams. And then after that, it was just sort of.
They were the team from 88 through 90. But Bill was smart enough to see the writing on the wall. Bill was a little pissed that I guess he was promised an agent/office position that didn't come through, because that fall, in one whack, I think they gave 17 guys notice.
Yes.
And a lot of them because they made that deal with the promotion in Japan that led to Sato of the Orient Express go into an office role, and Kato, Paul Diamond, under a mask, replace him with Pat Tanaka and Orient Express.
Phil says he's thrilled to meet Cowboy Bob Orton.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Phil. Yeah, I want to meet those little lads. Yeah. Bob Orton's great. The gentleman we're going to be announcing tomorrow night as our 8th featured superstar is a great human being. Like I said, if you guys continue to buy those VIP packages and Tickets, we're going to add to it. I have a 9th, I have a 10th, I have an 11th. They're all ready to come in. We'll give you more than 8. There's no law that says we're cutting you off. That was just what we were trying to promise you.
Matt says we need Kevin Walcott's, which is Nails, Nord, and Billy Jack Haynes in the studio at the same time.
I talked to Kevin.
It'd be more impressive if he talked to Billy, to be honest with you.
I talked to Kevin.
What did Kevin say?
He owes me one.
Oh,
He talks about it on the Montreal Screwjob episode.
What do you think about his thoughts on Montreal? Did you agree, disagree? What did you think?
That he thought that Brett was a pushy?
Well, I know he's not a fan of Brett or Sean personally.
I think,
which is good because it makes him very neutral. He wasn't there. He didn't care for either one. You know what I mean?
I think in the end of the day, he kind of agreed with me. All 3 of them were in the wrong. It could have been just totally avoided altogether. Number one, if WWF waited to get the title off of Brett before they said, we can't pay you anymore, they should have done that first. Then you don't have as much of a problem.
Right. And to be honest, that's why I think a lot of people think it's a work, because all 3, you could see it coming.
No.
I think it's a work still.
No. Sean just should have kept his mouth shut as far as saying, well, thank you. You'll put me over, but I'm never going to put you over.
That's the thing. Why would he say it? It has to be
because they get into a shoot fight in Hartford, and he ripped his hair out that's in a fucking Ziploc bag in Jim Cornette's attic.
I will say this. As much as I don't like the business today, one thing I think that's better is guys don't seem to have the egos about doing jobs anymore. It doesn't seem
you're right.
It doesn't seem as everyone's in their gimmick as much, which is good and bad.
Maybe they should be.
Which is good and bad.
And this is, I mean, come on. Who really wants to see this?
No, if you want to do like a haircut match, that makes more sense. Especially with 2 guys with long manes, but oh, look, he's gonna.
So I see fault in everyone. Brett should have said, you know what? I'm leaving this company to go and make $7 million over 3 years in WCW.
And he should have.
Why should I give a fuck about doing a job? I mean, that's like Hogan saying, oh, I can't lose the title in the United States.
Well, Canada wasn't the issue. It was Sean.
No, Canada was a big part of it, too.
I don't think it was that big.
It sure was.
I don't think
you weren't around for it.
He said it himself. Canada. It had nothing to do with losing in Canada.
He did not want to lose the title in Canada.
He didn't want to lose
which
to
is
Sean.
why he was proposing losing it on house shows the night before in Detroit, Michigan.
And to be fair, you know what's crazy? Nowadays, they'd do it. They'd be like, yeah, screw it. Drop it on the house show.
No, not the world title.
They would do it today.
That was a time when they were not drawing anything.
But today they would do it because it doesn't matter. They would drop it on a house show.
No, they wouldn't.
Oh, I would think they would.
Not the world title.
The Universal title? The title of the universe?
Nope.
Which, to be honest, is actually worth more than the world title because the world title is just our
world.
For
the world.
But the universe captures more.
No way.
They don't give a damn about their titles, Dan. Not anymore.
Let me tell you, they would not have, unless there was some kind of an injury or something they couldn't prevent, they would not book a world title change on a house show.
Look at the world title. It's been treated the last 10 years.
Pretty good. At what point was it treated bad over the past 10 years?
Well, it looked like a trinket with the stupid spinning belt.
Was the usage of it not treated with genuine respect?
Well,
was it flip-flop like it was during the Attitude Era when it was treated like a hot potato?
Oh, certainly it wasn't treated that great either.
The belt, it was more like bling. I'll give you that.
I mean, even guys like Austin would just throw the belt in the ring and whatever. Granted, that kind of fit his gimmick, but still. For me, I just don't think they really treat their product that well. And you're right.
I don't think they treat their product well, but I think they've done a good job protecting the title.
I will admit this.
Outside of maybe, you know how hot I was about the Bobby Lashley Big E thing.
I will admit this. They protect their world titles probably better than their mid-card belts. IC, US, that's treated. They'll drop the IC on a house show. I think you'll agree on that. Yeah.
And they've done it actually in a house show, not too well. Within the past few years, I remember. I think AJ
tag belts they'll do for sure. I mean, how many years ago?
They were both at MSG, as a matter of fact. Now that I think of it.
I mean, but
AJ in the U.S. title, and I think Andrade and was it Andrade and Rey Mysterio from a couple of Christmases ago, or might have been that. It was. I remember it was Andrade and someone because Andrade won it.
Look at and now he's on AEW with
And what a waste. There's another guy that could have been one of the #1 heels in the company,
Well, now
like
he's-
EC3 and
yeah, but now he's helping put over $1 million talent in Sammy Guevara.
nothing against Sammy Guevara.
No,
I like
no,
him too, but I wouldn't. If I was investing big money in Andrade, I certainly would not be having him doing clean jobs for what's his name? I'm trying to multitask and I can't.
No, look at Jake Snake going near Tammy.
Oh, well, it's nice he shows up somewhere. The piece of garbage.
No. Have you seen any
I
of his-
believe Jake. This was his big return tonight after quite a while. I think on the pre-show he defeated the Native American Tatanka.
Steve, you're right. Prior to the Montreal Screwjob, HBK had put over Brett clean numerous times during Brett's IC title run earlier that day. They did have some matches and
even as world champion, if you go back to Survivor Series '92.
Excellent match, by the way. Excellent.
I thought that was much better than their WrestleMania.
I could watch that match all day long.
The Survivors.
It's you know what I love about it. And I was talking about this with my friend Bastard
Murphy.
Is when we were
Who doesn't
training.
have to worry about having any.
Not that we were nearly as good as those guys, but what we liked about it was we felt we could. It was something that a young wrestler could aspire to do without needing to do a lot of high spots. Like you ever look at wrestling and say, I could do that, but you still have to learn how to do that. It kind of felt like that. You have to, if you watch the match, there's high spots, but it's very easy to follow. There's not a lot of shit going on. It's not like Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin where they do 20 million high spots and no one sells anything. And, it was two athletic guys who went back and forth and had a wrestling match.
If the fans went back in the history books and looked at the summer of,
and that's what I think makes Brett so great to me is guys work in such a fast style and nothing registers. And when you watch Brett, everything, it was like a great talker. He talked and you heard and you listened to him. But go on, I'm sorry, I digress.
If you go back in the history books to the summer of '92, before Brett put over a very high British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith in England,
which I'll tell you all about gladly.
Sean probably put over Brett 100 times that spring and summer after WrestleMania 8. And that was when he was on the ascend up the ladder. It didn't help him to be, there were good matches, but to be doing jobs to Brett every night.
People
but
forget,
he did them.
People forget they were decent friends. They were friendly at that point. Oh, Duke the Dumpster, another man who should have been with us November the 13th.
Well, he had a real life issue. I certainly have no heat with Duke the Dumpster Drosy. I hope he's doing well. As a matter of fact, I'm going to shoot him a message.
Will he ever come back and do a show? Probably not the 80s show.
I don't think he'd fit the gimmick, but he's a really, really good guy. I look forward to the fans being able to meet him. Maybe not the biggest star in the history of the industry, but a really good guy, a really interesting life story. It was a disappointment that he had a problem, with his stump.
Oh, wow. Triple H cut his hair off. Jesus Christ.
I hate to make it sound like that, but I think it had something to do with the leg. That weekend was such a blur. But I think that he had to go to the emergency room very, very late at night. And I remember he texted me at like 2:30 in the morning. So I give him all the credit in the world for that. Most guys would have waited or not. How this business works.
But this was near the end of his run.
Oh yeah, this is if a couple of months left.
I think the spring he was gone. And I think, funny enough, supposedly Austin wanted to work with him as a team or something like that because he was still doing the Ringmaster gimmick. And they were going to be skinheads or something like that.
Never heard that one.
That's what he said.
The Duke.
But and this is Triple H before he got really beefed up on roids and became the Game. Though, funny enough, he had a bodybuilding career, and he was probably the smallest he ever was at this time when he was wrestling. If you look at pictures of him years before...
Yeah, he was much thicker.
He was much thicker, but when he started wrestling, he started to lose some size, and he moved around great here. I know we talked about Triple H, but this was his best years. I wish he stayed at this size a little bit longer. I think it would have helped him physically.
I don't think they would have used him in a main event capacity if he remained at this size.
Too small, even smaller. He's bigger than Brett here, bigger than Sean.
I don't.
Height at least height wise, he was.
Oh well, I mean,
6'3", 6'4".
Height.
Yeah,
but I tell you this, I think they missed the opportunity with the heel or aggressive Duke Drosy. I mean, at a time when you were looking for big guys.
He has a great heel look now.
Right now, you know, an angry, pissed off guy. And it's a shame. And he's a really, for all the problems that he's faced, which are well documented online, just a really nice upfront guy. I really liked him. I'm disappointed he wasn't able to join us because he had to go to the, hospital the night before our event. Well, actually, maybe the morning of our event. But yeah. I think I'd be very surprised if we didn't see him
down the road
sometime.
Maybe at a future show. We'll see what happens.
Well, there's been talk with the chairman about taking these retro shows on the road.
What markets would those include? Maybe for the people?
Ones that aren't in the Boston area. So maybe, I don't know if he's thinking Maine, New Hampshire, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont. Why not? There's fans there that weren't able to make it to Memorial Hall to go back to the 90s. Right?
Well, I think to Memorial Hall, no offense to Memorial Hall, because it's a great building.
It's a nice building, yeah.
I thought it was a very cool building, but it might be, sometimes you have to let certain chapters close in a book.
Well, I think I told you the offer that was extended to me this week.
No, you have not.
About the expiration date. Did I not mention that to you?
No.
I did not. Well, we'll have something to talk about off the air.
Is it a good offer?
Better than what it was. How about that?
Okay.
I wasn't upset.
Okay.
I thought it was a good start. How about that? It was a good start due to my creativity.
Okay.
Look at John Nord. Look at him.
Do you think John Nord could be a commissioner of the MWF?
No. I don't think that would be a good role for John.
I think it'd be a great role for him.
I think John might be.
Could you imagine him in like the Teddy Long, a SmackDown GM kind of position?
I think John might forget some of his own rulings. What do you think? Maybe just want the Frosty. What are the fans going to say when they witness this episode? When John and I shoot over the Frosty in this non-Applebee's trip? Because it was heavily debated for several minutes.
I love the fact that
you're at work.
I love this is what I love about that he came up with an alibi to throw you off and to bury me, and then I love for about 5 minutes there you had legit heat with me.
No. If you actually watch the episode and I continue to believe that it happened, I actually say. So what am I supposed to do?
Because it sounds like he made it seem like he almost Charlie and I plotted to go to Applebee's while we were here, and we dropped you off.
There was a little of it. You'll hear, like I said, the whole thing's on tape. It's not like it was an outtake or something like that. So you'll get a laugh out of it. At no point was I really mad. I was just like, you know what? Oh, motherfucker. They went to Applebee's? I would have loved the mozzarella stick or something. You know what I mean? But are you checking in on the chat as I continue to do my...
I need to. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. We don't want to let our fans think we're forgetting about them. Like WWE. Oh, I shouldn't say that.
Like WWE, brother.
What do you think about the rumors that, along with Austin making his long-awaited in-ring return at WrestleMania, going to see a gentleman having his first WrestleMania or match at all in 12 years, going back to WrestleMania 26. When he took on Bret the Hitman Hart in some kind of gimmick match.
Well,
I think it's a little much.
I think it's desperate.
Yeah, that's another word.
Yeah.
I don't see the need for a 76-year-old man to go and hook him up. You know what I mean? But it is his company.
Ja Will, stay focused.
Hey, Ja Will, how you doing, brother?
Ja Will, you're absolutely right. I need to get focused on things, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens here in the coming months.
Well, it is the busiest. Now, my question is, when I am in Dallas, are you and DeCesare going to take over the WrestleMania watch-alongs?
With
the lads?
Are you? Wait a minute. Why? I don't know. I really don't care. See, I don't care. I have to be completely honest. I never care about any of the new pay-per-views.
Well, maybe that's what would make it interesting from your point of view, that you really don't have a...
Just Cesare night?
You don't have a fight. You don't have a... What's the terminology? You don't have a...
Well, March Madness is that weekend. So I don't know.
It's in April, though.
Yeah, April 2nd.
And 3rd.
Yeah, and March Madness, one of the games is on April 2nd. But the 3rd one, you know what I can do? I'll talk to Phil, and we'll see what we can do.
You two will be the bosses. I'll have to talk to Howard Miller and John C. Manicus Riley about it, but I think the fans would be disappointed. I certainly can't do one from inside the
Phil
AT&T
says,
Stadium.
I'm there, dude. You know what?
Uh-oh!
If Phil,
The Cesare Madness, baby.
if the Cesare will
Welcome
be here,
back hall.
if the Cesare's there this weekend, I'll be here.
Well, we're not talking about this weekend.
Or that mean this weekend, meaning like the April 2nd weekend. I'll be there, Phil, if you want.
Maybe I'll check in via telephone or something.
Guys, Applebee's is pretty good, but I didn't go there with John.
I like
North.
Applebee's.
I do too. People shit on it, but I think it's great.
Eating good in your neighborhood. You think that's what he would say?
He was not a fan of the meal we had.
He didn't like the Wendy's.
No, the meal that you, him, and I and John C had at
We won't even say it because of it, but
okay.
To me, it looked kind of like a chocolate cake when it was being delivered. I didn't know what it was.
Did you think at one point
that
he was gonna like look up and have all this shit-looking thing on his face, but he didn't?
Like a little baby that needed a bib?
Oh, well, speaking of heat, that was a funny meal in itself because of the plucker, I'm gonna call it.
A plucker?
Well,
you mean John C. Manicus Riley taking a little bit of this and a little bit of that off of other people's plates?
yeah. So should we tell the people about
You
that?
can tell. Yes, that one we can show.
All right. So we're at the restaurant and I order my meal, and John C. looks across at me and says, "Do you mind if we share?" The waiter said, I'm making him sound like a little nerd. "Do you mind if we share?" The waiter said the portions are big. I'm pretty hungry. I'm like,
And they weren't that big.
and I'm like,
And I knew they weren't that big,
I'm
which
like,
is why I was
well,
reluctant.
I'm like, I want to be nice. So I'm like, sure, have a couple, right? A couple is fine. So Dan gets his meal first. Dan, the gentleman he is, starts eating right away. He doesn't wait for anyone.
I hadn't eaten.
Yeah.
I was
If
hungry.
you're on a date with Dan, all to the ladies out there, if his food comes for you, you're going to be watching him eat. And he's going to be like, "So what do you like to do for fun, Bozak?" Huh? He's just going to eat, which is fine. Some people hate that. I don't care. And then my food comes, and then I literally give 2 to John C. He eats them. Well, before that, actually, he asked you for some, and he keeps asking.
And you know, the thing is, I would have rather have bought him his own order than him take mine.
Yeah.
You know how hungry I get when I don't eat for, literally all 24 hours almost.
Yeah. So
Because I get so tense the day of these big shoots, I don't eat until we leave.
Yeah. So
And I
basically,
don't need,
Yeah. And so basically he starts taking a couple things off Dan's, and I said, okay, right there, I wouldn't have mind sharing, but he's just trying to hustle more food. So then
thought
mine
he was
comes,
Larry Shreve.
and I figure I give him a couple. And then I get it, and then I take the rest, and he's looking over at me like a sad puppy dog. So I give him another one. I give him one more of my chicken. One more of my chicken. And he finally decides that I say that's enough. But he basically would pick and pick. Now,
Another big win for Triple H, enter Ernest Helmsley.
and then he went to the bathroom, and then I think we started to take a couple from him.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, no, remember they sent that extra
Oh,
one
no,
out
that was complimentary.
from that gentleman.
Yeah, that was complimentary.
They took great care of us that night. I noticed John didn't open his wallet for the tip, but that's all right. He was the guest of honor, even if he did get a frosty the next night. Fridley's finest.
Fridley's fine.
Is he Fridley's finest?
Well, I think he's definitely among the best. He's definitely better than that woman he lives across the hall from.
Yes.
That woman can...
Cheney, I think he says her name is.
Cheney?
Like the former vice president, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Unless he's just pronounced it a little difficult for me to understand. After Ernest Helmsley and that Bozak, happy to come away with the win over the Duke here in your house.
Oh, John C. says, I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, John C. The hustler.
John C. sorry for not being here, I think.
Oh, well, you know what? Yes.
Yeah.
We miss you, John C.
Phil, I agree with you. You can do a lot with lightweights. I prefer lighter than heavier at this point.
It's easier when you're on the gas.
A little bit, just a little bit. That's a Sweet Undertaker sweater. Would you wear that out in public?
I know.
People thought that they were going to spend 30. Look at the Shawn Michaels T-shirt, and no wonder wrestling was dead. With T-shirts like this, who the hell? Look at Brett's shirt. It looks terrible. Diesel, they look awful.
Well,
And they wonder why business was in the toilet. Even the shirts nowadays are better, but they're not.
John C., I'd get you a T-shirt if you were here, brother. We wish you were coming with us to, where the fuck is it that we're going? Texas.
Oh, for Mania?
Yeah.
Are you excited about Mania?
No, because we're not doing any of the things we originally planned now.
Like what?
Well, we're not doing Wrestle House. We're not going to do WrestleCon. So it's kind of like
just seeing Mania.
I'll tape a few things in and around the city, but nothing compared to the big ideas we had. Oscar is hosting a late night gathering hosted by, I think it's called the Wrestle Travel Group out of England.
Mm-hmm.
That they get large, obviously, groups of fans to come to some of the bigger pay-per-views. So we are going to go to that. And Oscar wants to do some interviews there. So
you're looking forward to seeing Oscar.
Of course.
Yes, your good friend Oscar.
Oscar's ready for April the 16th.
He's coming back?
That's what he claimed today.
Oh, God.
We taped last night's episode today. Tomorrow night's episode today.
How's the...
Yokozuna's getting a little fired up.
Oh, is his quick baby face turn? Yeah. Did you like Yoko at this time, or was he just there?
There wasn't much left in the gas tank, literally. It's a shame he couldn't get his weight under control.
When
he hit his peak,
John C says, next time we eat, I'll pay.
Oh, John, you know what? All you have to do is pay what we paid last time, right? And then we're even.
Don't worry about it, John C. It's just a little teasing.
A little ribbing of John C.
You can always give it back to us. J. Rob, Goldust was underrated. Very much so. I think so. I think he was I think he's the best worker out of that whole family.
John C., I don't think I even asked you, did you enjoy the meal? I know there was kind of a mixed bag around our table. I don't remember what he even got.
Phil DeCesare, where did you, in the Gold Gym, four-time winner of what? A four-time winner of a bodybuilding tournament?
Who? Phil is?
He's talking to Jaw Will. Jaw Will has spent a lot of time in gyms in Georgia.
Oh.
And
Phil
DeCesare. And Phil has spent a lot of gyms in Worcester, I'm assuming.
Spent some time, all right.
And funny enough, I saw that Derby's having a show in Worcester April 15th.
We really don't need to mention that and help their cause.
Well, I don't think.
I saw the advertised main event and I almost choked.
What's the advertised main event?
Oh, it's so bad. I don't need. Sami Zayn is part of it in the 6-man tag team match. It doesn't even involve Roman.
Well, I only say that because maybe Phil DeCesare. Oh, Jay Cutler. Okay, maybe Phil DeCesare could go and be the ring announcer for WWE that night.
Well, I have a feeling they'll continue to use the Zoc that they have now in the position, or she might be on Raw. I don't know.
What's her name again?
I have no idea.
The last ring announcer I knew they had by name was JoJo.
Mrs. Wyatt.
The daughter of the
Jose Offerman.
Oh, yes,
second baseman of the Boston Red Sox.
Thank you.
All-star second baseman.
Yes. But I know, and I remember JoJo. Remember when her nudes came out? I saw her nudes, and
did you enjoy nude JoJo?
She looked very good. You know,
really?
I'm surprised she would go for a guy like Bray Wyatt, but hey,
well, there's someone for everyone in this world. You guys, I want to know.
Phil, you would disperse flyers for Boston Wrestling.
Well, see, Phil is a man that's part of the team.
Phil, were you a Jay Cutler fan? I liked some of the bodybuilders, but by the time it got to the 90s, everyone got too big for my liking. I thought everyone was too big. I stopped really liking anyone past the early 90s. I think Bob Paris was about as I like the late 80s, early 90s guys, and then after that. I agree, Charlie. Yeah, I think once the 90s hit, everyone just got too big. Like, to me, the best guy who had size was, and I say size, I mean thickness, was probably Mike Menser and Ray Menser, the Menser brothers.
You're really a big bodybuilding fan.
Well, I know some of the guys, but I liked I think bodybuilding was great up until the end of the 80s. After that, I think everyone got too big. I think there's a beauty in symmetry and proportions. I think a lot of guys now, like Chris Bumstead, look great.
Good worker.
Yeah, Chris Bumstead.
Sounds like he could have been part of the cream team.
Chris Bumstead?
Yeah.
I just prefer more aesthetic looking guys in terms of their look, except as opposed to the huge mass monsters.
Yeah.
You know.
All I know is I can't think about how I'm going to get out of the chair. I'm in so much pain. How am I going to make it to New York City tomorrow, Mr. Wilson?
You're going to New York City, huh?
Unfortunately, well, I shouldn't say
For what?
unfortunately, but I have to go yet again.
Do you love this woman enough to go visit her?
There is no woman involved.
Is there a man involved?
Several, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
But not in the way you're thinking.
You dirty train.
Not in the way you're thinking. Have some business at hand for the old MWF, and I have not made the rounds for a couple of. Geez, when was the last time I went? It's been about a month.
Would you like to tell the fans a little bit about the business out there?
I'll tell the fans all about it once it's done.
Is it
I'm
almost
very
done?
superstitious. I probably won't know until the spring.
Okay. What's up with
But
Dave?
tomorrow I'm very happy. I'm not flying. I'm taking the train.
Okay. How long's the train ride?
About a little over 4 hours. And when you combine getting through the airport, checking in, even though I have that clear now where I just use my eyes, the actual waiting at the gate, the flight, the landing, sitting on the tarmac sometimes, getting off the plane, trying to get through the airport, taking the train once you get to New York to get into the city. It'll probably wind up being the same amount of time. And the train, what's that?
Like a Greyhound?
Well, Greyhound's a bus.
Oh, sorry. Train you're taking, which would be, is it Amtrak?
Yes. And it lets you off right across the street from MSG. So I'll be just a few blocks away from where I need to go. And the price was about the same. So I said, you know what? The train it is. I can kick back, relax, get some work done on the computer, read a little bit. I'm trying to finish up the Dangerous One. Danny Davis's book will be with us Saturday night, April the 16th at Memorial Hall when we go back to the 80s.
Do you like his book?
Yes. VIP packages and tickets on sale now at BostonWrestling.com. Tomorrow night on MWF Extra, who's going to be the big announcement? Who is going to be VIP 80 superstar number 8?
Now, is it true that he spent some time with Vince early on in his life, or did I just hear that from someone else?
He was around for the days of Vince Sr. He was there so long. He broke in the mid-70s.
But how old is he? Was he close to Vince's age? I heard they knew each other.
I would think Danny's a little younger, without Googling it. And he's dangerous. The danger zone could be coming to this TV studio. And we're not talking about Phil.
J. Rob, thanks for liking me. I appreciate it. I try to provide good humor for the show.
Well, he tries, but
I don't really know if I like Davey's tights here. They look like he was in the middle of a different change, and he just had these tights lying around.
they look almost like workout pants.
Also, I will always prefer my bulldog with the braids. I always liked him with the long hair and the braids.
When he was super gassed up.
Super, yeah. I always thought the braids were the best look for him. But I did like the shorter hair too. Not this short, but I thought he looked better with like the slick back hair and maybe trunks because he had such nice legs. But as opposed to Yoko, who just had
just a lot.
Yeah.
Like as I was saying earlier on, it's such a shame that he just couldn't control anything because he was such a good worker and a good egg, good guy.
Funny enough, I feel like you could be talking about either one. I feel like you're talking about Yoko. But it could apply to Davey a little bit too. I thought
Davey boy really, his unfortunately for him was just falling on a trap door and blowing out his back. Well, this is a disqualification if I've ever seen one. Potato City right there from James E.
This was probably James E. when he. I feel like this time I look back on Cornette, he was so cartoony, as opposed to what he was in the NWA. Is that a fair assessment?
I disagree. I thought he was very good in WWF.
Really?
Yeah.
But even with the suits, and I just feel like
he wore the same style suits.
I know, but it just
his
seems
poor
like
Leon coming out after shoulder surgery, probably still stinking.
Funny enough, these two spent some time in the drive-thrus around Duke, right? They would get out. They went to Duke to lose weight, and they would.
Oh, right. I thought you
you-
were talking about Drosy.
Now, could you imagine Charlie Wilson and his Wilson-mobile driving around Leon and Yoko through
It might be the
drive-thrus?
last time we ever saw you if you had Leon in the car. You'd send us a bill for fumigation.
A lot of smelling there.
Oh,
A lot of
it's a
complaints.
shame that WWF never really got the real Vader because he was just so fucking good.
Could you imagine though, we're in the drive-thru and all of a sudden
He'd be complaining about something.
Vader says, "I want this," and they're like, "Well, we ran out." I'm like, what do you mean you ran out? Like, I just feel like in that
There'd
soft
be a lot of complaining.
complaining. He'd ask me to go drive across town to a different place. and-
Yeah, that sounds about right. And it's too bad because he was a nice guy. He was just fucking bitching.
And they're all dead.
Bitch.
They're all dead. All those three guys are dead
Yeah,
now.
isn't that sad?
Yeah.
And all three of them were good guys.
And none of them would have been 70.
No.
None of them would have been 70.
The only one I think that even would have been close. Well, you know what? Then again, for Yoko, it's been over 20 years at this point.
Phil, it would have been like the car in Seinfeld. Which car? When when Jerry leaves the keys and the guy gets in, he's like, "Oh, what's this car?" He couldn't lose the car. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah. Where does Yoko rank in the Great Samoan Workers? I think. I mean,
if he had a longer run on top, to me, he'd be one of the elite. But it's just
he was good enough to convince people he was Japanese.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he was like the greatest Samoan worker I probably ever saw for my money was I'm biased because of the generation I watched, but I love Samoa Joe. I think Joe's incredible.
Oh, you include him.
I would he's not in the family, but he is Samoan. Would you include Reigns? Because he's part Italian. He's not even full Samoan.
Well, he's part of the family.
And then Rock. I guess the top three for me would
He's
be
only half, so he's still part of the family.
I would
even though
include
they're not biologically related. They still
I would say for me,
count 'em.
Rocky, Roman, and Joe. Were
Which Rock? The Rock or Rocky Johnson?
the Rock are the best
The
Samoan
Rock,
workers.
who else? Samoa Joe, and who was the other one?
Roman. And the Usos are great too.
I love the Usos. I think they're vastly underrated.
Who's the Uso looking guy who's in NXT? He's new.
their brother?
Oh, that's his brother?
Yeah.
Oh, because he looks literally like one of them.
Well, they're brothers.
Anyway.
He's what the fuck he is he worked as Cephaphat too. He was going to come in for us before coronavirus.
Really?
What he works as Sikoa.
I'd imagine they're going to build to him and
Something.
Braun at some point.
He's not that big of a guy. He's another one that I think.
Yeah, he's not.
I think he was signed because of his last name.
They're
more than
small
anything.
the Usos are small for Samoans.
Height-wise, they're bigger than you think, but they're not very thick.
But especially when they're wearing those sweatpants and all that, they really don't look that big.
Or maybe intimidating to the naked eye. What's so funny?
J. Rob wrote Usos looking guy, LOL. And I said maybe I could have maybe rephrased that. Because to me, I'm like, who's the Uso looking guy on NXT TV? Oh, is that Clarence Mason?
Yes.
Clarence Mason dotting I's and crossing T's. Great lawyer, Clarence Mason.
Still practicing down in Florida.
Do you think he'd be a better lawyer than Wimpy?
Yes. John C. Not John. What's that other sack of shit's name? Lou Data should have gone further south than Woburn. Oh, speaking of gutter trash.
I love how he's just fondling the man on his laptop. That's great, isn't it?
Well,
again,
for him it was a gimmick. For her, it was a way of life.
I know people love Dusty, and Cody's done some stuff recently, obviously with the AEW project. But Dustin to me is the best worker from that family. He could just do it all, I think.
I wish we didn't have the issue we had with him because I'd probably think even more of him than I really do.
In the car?
Yeah. Ruining one of our annual events, but.
Well, did he really ruin it by doing that in the car?
Yes, do you think they ever wanted to have wrestling there again after that?
Well, he was in a car by himself, right?
In their parking lot.
Well, he wasn't hurting anyone. I've done things in a car in parking lots. I didn't hurt anyone.
It's your opinion.
Usually making people feel good in the parking in the car.
Pleasing.
Oh no, not this again.
What?
When
What
he said,
"Ball"?
"No, I'm gonna hear some questions." The pleasing, the servicing. Oh, this was people thought Owen was gonna go to WrestleMania.
I don't think they were fooling too many on this one, but I could be wrong.
In the middle of Sean's push to the top of the card.
That angle they did on Raw in what would have been November of '95 was excellent.
He really, you know what hurt him is they should have let him just be a cocky baby face, because that's what he was really as. Look at him. That screams humble baby face. I don't know. I can't relate to him. I relate to that 93 Sean with a little extra flab around him. I feel like that's my guy. I can relate to him, you know. He looked like he had some satellite office and lifted some weights. Yeah. Maine is Tongan. You're right. Yes, Maine is Tongan. Also, Tama Tonga is really good. I think he's pretty good.
What's that now?
Tama Tonga. He was in the Bullet Club in New Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
As Mario Jannetty once said, WrestleMania 12, the ego guy versus the other ego guy. I don't know if I've ever seen two bigger marks for themselves than Brett and Shawn. And this is coming from fans of both of them. Did you hear what one of the guys from FTR said about Shawn Michaels recently?
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Disappointing, I guess, if true.
It's weird. I look at Shawn now, and you know, he did have I might be a little critical of Shawn in certain ways, but he did have a star power about him. But now he just looks like someone's dad, someone's drunk uncle. You know, look at him now.
Well, he is almost 60.
Yeah, but he's really aged kind of rough.
Most people, once they push 60, do, especially with the amount of drugs and alcohol that he was doing.
Yeah.
At his peak. I do remember looking forward to this match as the pay-per-view was going on.
Well, these two guys were so talented.
Yeah.
I'd even argue Owen was just as talented as Shawn in a lot of ways.
No, I don't know about that.
I think Owen could have done anything Shawn could have done.
How did Shawn do it better?
Owen was smooth.
He was smooth, but I hate to say it. I think a lot of people have, like Eddie Guerrero, speak and remember him much more fondly because he's passed away than they would have had they been alive.
To be fair, I think a lot of people overrate Shawn Michaels a little bit. Myself, I think he's a little slightly overrated. Again, you know how I feel about Shawn. Great worker. I just don't see him as that. To me, if he drew like a Hogan, yeah, I'd give it to him. Or if he came close to drawing like Austin, I'd give it to him. But as an in-ring worker, I thought of this. I think Shawn might be close to the top in the sense that he was able to do a lot of different things for his size. He wasn't a small guy, but he wasn't huge. But Owen, I think, was able to do anything move for move than Shawn. Now, did he have a good look like Shawn? No. The promos weren't quite as good as Shawn either. And Shawn wasn't even that great of a promo, I don't think. I bet he was solid, but he wasn't, you know. But to be fair, Shawn was the best thing at the time to be on top of this company. What else were they going to do?
They have to ask John Nord.
How would John Nord have been in WWF at 95, 96?
I would have liked to have seen him in ECW. That topic came up during one of our recent episodes. It's like what's going on at Phil's house right now. People are jumping around on the roof. It's like a big party over there on the Caesarea Avenue.
Man, Shawn looked really gay, didn't he?
Well, I've never danced around on my roof looking like that, but I don't have an outfit like that.
That's
I just
true.
dance on my roof.
I mean, I would, if I had an outfit like that, I would dance on my roof like that too.
Well, even if you didn't have it.
That's true, yeah.
Just felt like a firefighter or a
Oh,
Tarzan.
that's a bit of a jump. Could have hurt himself on that.
Blown out a knee.
Yeah,
Phil
really.
said we're dancing on the ceiling.
Like, who's that? Lionel Richie?
I don't remember.
Yeah, if Sean basically his gimmick was a male stripper. If he was a young man today, he'd probably have an OnlyFans account. And I'd want
Vince wouldn't let him.
and I'd want the link, to be honest, because I'd like to see some of the. I'm always curious
He
about
did do that Playgirl spread.
Looked great here physically.
I mean, I guess you already have the magazine.
I never got the Playgirl.
No.
I grew up in the internet age, Dan.
Right.
Magazines were kind of on the way out, you know.
I don't know how I'm going to make it out of here into New York tomorrow. I am in so much pain. Forgive me for slouching and leaning, but I hurt. Like that Johnny Cash song, I hurt myself today, even though it was, I think, Wednesday.
But you'll gladly pay Tuesday for the hamburger today.
Well, I'm not even in the mood for wimpy. But poor Justin Incredible is the one that gets the old Marathi ham a Tuesday during the New Jack Marathon.
I would love to see Justin back because he's got a lot of good stuff. I mean, perfect example. People don't know he was around Shawn Michaels quite a bit during this run.
He sure was,
and he got to talk
a whole grouping of them.
Yeah, and he talked about Shawn, and he said he's actually, I believe, said that his whole run in ECW when he got to the top, it was about being, you know, Shawn Michaels. He wanted to be that top guy. Phil says, Charlie, you missed the generation of playboys in the forts in the woods.
What?
That's what he said.
In
Phil,
the woods?
What were you doing in the woods, buddy?
Jesus, Phil. I know I said you look like the brawny paper towel guy, but let's not go too far.
Could you imagine walking in the woods and hearing, ah! Oh, gosh, Phil, we love you.
Phil grabbing that rope like Shawn Michaels and just swinging into the water.
I'll say this. I think Phil was I've seen some of the pictures of Phil from back in the day. I think he was bigger than both these guys.
He would have ripped the rope off of the tree.
He would have ripped the rope or off the ring, you know.
What do you think of our little ring that I had?
I like it. I like it.
Well,
it's no, you know, it's like a ring of pain.
I'll come back all. But here we are. What a matchup we have here, fans. Two guys I thought worked very well together. I would have liked to have seen them had an extended feud like they were supposed to after the Montreal Screwjob before, I guess Sean screwed him out of that too.
I like the spot. It's a nice little. Oh, he gave a clap to Vince. Did he ever give Vince the clap, you think?
No.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Short ride home. Well, I don't know if Jim Cornette was living there at that point.
Oh, God. The Berzerker in the front.
Rats are all...
Look at them. They look like someone's on, huh? Bill DeCesare says, we've got Bush.
Wait a minute. Cornette's ready to take the jacket off.
It probably was a short. Actually, no, I don't think he was in Connecticut at this time yet. I think it was right after this he went to Connecticut. Which he says he hates living in Connecticut. And it is. I mean, Matt Daddy's there, so you know it's a terrible place.
Who?
Sacco.
Oh, Connecticut. Yeah.
I don't know. Connecticut's okay. I never really wanted to live there.
What's wrong with it?
You know what it is? I always felt if I was going to move, I would rather move out of New England. If I'm going to move, to be honest with you.
To a warmer climate.
Warmer climate, exactly.
Not Fridley.
Not Fridley. But could you imagine if you had to, if you did something, Dan, and witness protection said we have to put you in Fridley, Minnesota, you would be either laughing or crying, maybe both.
Visiting John Nord.
He's like, you want to go to Applebee's?
The only problem is I know people everywhere. I don't know where they'd put me. I might have to dye the hair and cut the beard. I don't know.
Do you really know people all over?
I do. I could go to different countries even. I just wish I didn't feel so bad. I wish I could snap out of this. Oh, thank God for Dr. David Reese. That's all I could say. I would be in the emergency room right about now.
Kevin Tagley.
Kevin, how are you, buddy?
Tagley,
he lives there.
He says, CT sucks, I live there. Yeah, any reason you don't like it, Kevin?
So there's no Fridley in Connecticut.
No, that's true, too. There's no John Nord.
Don't forget, fans, the Super Chat button is open. Marty Jannetty is ready to make his return to the studio. We're getting ready to go back to the 80s on the whole weekend of April 16th.
Marty okay?
He's texting, so I think he's amongst the living.
When do you think he'll come back?
I don't know. Charlie Wilson and Dan are butt buddies. Mike, come on now.
I don't think Mike likes me too much. I think because I wouldn't accept his friend request on Facebook, he got upset.
Oh, little heat. I think he's a friend of mine, but
JR
everybody's a friend of mine.
JR calls it the overpriced hellhole. I know Cornette did not like Connecticut at all. Did not care for it, so.
You have resentment toward Cheeky Baby. I do, Danny, to some extent, because if people...
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, Marty!
Fridley's finest. How are you, brother?
What's going on?
Just so you know, we're live on the air right now, but we wanted to say hello to you and see how you were doing.
You mean you're back from Florida?
I didn't go to Florida.
I thought you did. I must be here. I swear to God, I thought you.
Nah,
must
you
been a dream.
You were more worried about getting your hand on one of those Frosties. Maybe that was the F word you were thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah.
John Nord.
Challenge. Oh, you're live on the air, huh?
Yeah,
Johnny
I got Charlie
Nord
with us right now, and we wanted to say hello since we were talking about you.
Well, thank you guys for calling.
John, I'll call you later this week, I promise.
Did you make it back to Fridley all right?
Charlie. Yes, of course.
All right. Well,
yeah, you're in good. I'm in good hands at the airport. How sideways can you go at the airports?
Well, the airports aren't always the easiest to navigate, but you know Minneapolis well.
They're not as fun as they used to be.
What made the airports fun, John?
Well, when you would see other wrestlers sitting at the bar.
Oh, okay.
I think I ran into what's his name? Who was Blackjack's son again?
Blackjack Mulligan?
Yeah, Winslow? No.
Barry Windham?
Barry Windham? No. Kendall Windham?
Yeah, Windham.
When?
Yeah, and the only time I ever met him in 20 years was we did about 10 drinks at the airport bar. And that's my big story with him.
You did 10 yourself.
Oh yeah, we started doing the shots. Things got a little dicey.
And you saw Barry Windham when you got home to Minneapolis on Tuesday night?
No. Years ago.
Oh.
It was the only 2 hours I ever met him.
I remember you told us that story once on the air.
Yeah, or something.
But there's a little bit of controversy, John, about one of the episodes we taped when you accused our friend here, Charlie, of taking you on an excursion to Applebee's, when in reality, apparently, it was a hamburger and a Frosty.
Well,
I had to beat it out of him like he was in DeCesare's basement.
John Nord, save me, John. He's trying to put his...
I will... If Charlie says it, I go with Charlie.
Yeah.
Well, that's not very convincing, to be honest.
Johnny Nord!
And you guys and your resentments of restaurants. I just don't understand.
John, I don't have any resentments.
I don't resent any restaurant. I was just trying to get to the bottom of it. What was the truth? Were you eating good? Were you eating good in the neighborhood at Applebee's? Or did you get the Frosty and the Baconator?
Something kind of weird happened.
Something kind of weird happened with the Frosty.
Yeah. Well, we get that next episode. I'm there, but
all right, we'll save it for your next visit.
John, how about this?
Me and Charlie swore off we wouldn't tell.
All right. Did you take a blood oath?
No, just got kind of strange, and it was just kind of strange. But
does Dasso know, or do I got to call him?
John,
the biggest reason I say that, Dan, is because you hate not knowing it. I love that.
John, this is Charlie. That when you come back, I'll take you and Darso out. We'll go out and have a nice meal after the show, okay?
Yeah, that's a deal. I'll do it. Hey, let me ask you, Dan.
Yeah.
What year did you interview Orndorff about Brody?
09.
09?
2009, yeah.
Geez, you looked young.
Did I? Oh, you saw
That
it?
would have made Charlie a toddler run around in diapers
Oh, no, Charlie would have been, what, a late
with a
teen?
big load in his pants.
Well, it
He
depends
still
on the
has a
load.
few of those, but it depends on
John,
the
I
kind
would
of
have been in
load.
09. I would have been
Diaper
17.
kid.
I turned 30 in 2 weeks.
We're going to have a big 30th birthday party for him, John, right here on the show.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, him and his 92,000 mile Impala.
Are you trying to sell him a new car, John?
Perhaps.
John, you got any Studebakers on the lots over there in Fridley?
We got some students. We got a few Ramblers.
You got an Opal in there, maybe?
Yeah, I got an Opal, got a Chef Citation.
You got a Dodge Polaris with a push start?
Yeah. Hey, I bought a brand new Chef Chevette for $5,400.
And what are you going to do with it? Try and hustle it?
No, they were awful cars.
Yeah, they were
You
little.
know.
Oh, I didn't think you were driving right now.
Oh no, I think when he bought it when it was
I
new.
was actually talking about 1987.
Oh, I had the year wrong, I guess.
So you know who Charlie looks like.
Who does he look like?
Anthony. All you gotta do is Google Anthony Zerbe.
Oh, that's right. Anthony Zerbe. Yeah.
God, spitting image. Spitting.
Well, John,
So what?
we had a hell of a good time this week. I can't wait to see you, maybe if not even before April, in April.
Yeah, there's definitely some things I got to get off my chest
About who now?
about what's what with the Montreal deal and this, that, and the other. I'm gonna get it off my chest. I'm just gonna scream, and then
Funny
I'm
enough,
gonna feel so much better.
Funny enough, John, we're watching a watch-along right now. We're watching Owen Hart and Shawn Michaels from 1996. Pretty good match.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet you it is.
Did you?
And you know what? What was it? 96? Where?
Yeah. Lexington, Kentucky.
Louisville.
Or Louisville, I'm sorry.
WWF pay-per-view.
Louisville.
Yeah.
God, there was a good doctor in Louisville.
He had the medicine.
Oh, he had the kibbles and bits.
Yeah.
And, you know, there used to be a cat commercial with Morris the cat.
Yeah.
And he would be yelling, I got to get me some kibbles and bits.
It's like you looking for a Frosty.
It's like me looking for a Frosty. I can eat a Frosty, you know.
How often?
Like how fast I can eat other things.
Oh, well, that's what the women say. But, John, I have to ask you, did you have a chance to see this week's episode yet?
Which one?
But, well, that's right. We did one about Jake and one about Montreal. I know you have YouTube TV.
I tuned in about 4 hours ago.
Did you like it?
I did like it. I liked the polka dot milk shirt because I thought of
Quincy?
Yeah.
Quincy Rastani?
Yeah.
And Patera?
Classic.
Did you like Quincy?
Yeah. He's quite a character.
He is.
He's still fired up about Patera Rastani.
Yeah, don't say Patera or the whole country shakes.
It's going to be like the Ukraine.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he'll go outside in the street and just start spinning around like a Tasmanian devil, you know?
Well, John, we didn't want to bother you, but we were just talking about you and figured we'd check in and say hello and see how you were doing.
I love you some bitches for calling.
Well, we love you too.
John, I'll give you a call this week, okay?
Thanks, Charlie Wilson.
All right, John.
Thank you, my brother and co-host, Dan.
You're the host, brother. I'm just there to provide the questions. It's your show.
Well, I got to get some shit off my chest. I'm going to start looking at airfares right now. I might see you fuckers tomorrow.
All right.
Best.
Well, I think Charlie's off. We'll send him to the airport.
Oh, Christ.
All right, John. We'll talk to you, buddy. Be good.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, John. Bye-bye.
Bye, John. I'll give him a
Well,
call
a little
this week.
treat for you fans at home to check in with the Berzerker, John Nord, as if we didn't talk to him enough this past week.
I thought it was Marty you were calling. You talked about Marty that's coming in. When's Marty coming in?
I want to make sure he's well
Personally,
before we bring him. And
I
he's
know-
no, I don't think he's sure when he's going to be well.
I was going to say this. In my opinion, I shouldn't. This is my opinion. You're very interested in April 16th. I would not even have him come in until post April 16th.
You'd wait until after the fact.
I think it's just better.
Fair enough. I just think it's a disaster waiting to happen if he's in a lot of pain
Yeah.
and he starts on whatever.
Now, John Nord, you could bring him back in
Weekly.
March. You could bring him back in March.
Fridley's fine.
Fridley's fine, so you can bring him back because I think he would be a good thing to have in the lead up.
Hey, Jamie, how are you, buddy? We taped several episodes leading into it, some wraparounds and things like that.
But we're going Nord episodes until the summer, right?
I think we've got Nord through early July.
Yeah. So if he,
So we're in no rush for
Yeah.
Throwback Thursdays.
yeah.
Then he's going to be taping a full day on the Thursday, April 14th,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to be doing the morning on the 15th. And then the afternoon is going to be with Axe or Smash. I don't remember which one. And then at night, it's going to be the opposite Axe or
Is this
Smash.
show going to be more stressful weekend, the day of, compared to November 13th, or you think it's going to be? It should be about the same.
I think we have a better group of guys. Nothing against what we had.
Yeah, we had a
then.
weird mixed mash of people, which was kind of cool, but it was very,
I'm hoping we'll have the dangerous one in the studio for the Danger Zone before the event.
If you
He
had
has
to,
so
if
many
you had to,
interesting
if you had to
stories.
bring one person from the '80s show or the '90s show back, who would you bring? You got to pick one.
Oh, there's a few.
I mean, just out of the legends.
There's a few.
Oh, really? I think there's.
Who would you? Well, you seem to have a little skin in the game here now.
For me, I would bring back either Marty, and that because Marty was great that day, or I'd bring back Luke.
Yeah, they seem to be the consensus
Yeah.
of everybody's favorites.
Medusa would be
Last.
more of a shits and giggles just to see your reaction.
Yeah.
More of a rib on you, if anything.
It's great. It's just what I need.
But I would say out of the two that came, yeah, especially because those guys really fit the '80s pretty well.
Well, it was a 90s event, but
Yeah, first half of the '90s. But yeah, but Marty spent a lot of the time in the '80s, and Luke spent a lot of time in the '80s.
oh, sure.
And Medusa did too, even though she wasn't your favorite.
Looked like she was in them. But
Granted,
think
she had more of
Super Kick
a.
coming up
She didn't
got
have
the
really
kick.
any major success in wrestling until the '90s, unless I'm wrong about that.
what a beautiful super kick, even without my glasses on. Stick a fork in Shawn Michaels. Let the road to WrestleMania 12 to begin with. Was there anyone at home watching that said, you know what? Maybe Owen's going to win?
I still think Owen could have had maybe a world title run at some point,
He
but
wasn't over enough.
a lot of the world champions aren't over enough these days.
Then,
Yeah, if he was around today, I think he could be a world champion today.
he'd have a better shot, I
Yeah.
think.
Also, what might have hurt him too is I think he started getting a little chunky around the end of his life.
Did he?
I think a little bit heavier. Oh, we got a girl.
Almost looks wrong.
I think Brett wasn't a fan of this with the kids.
Yeah, it's one thing to dance with Rikishi, but to do a little striptease act with Shawn Michaels is a little much for me.
You know, that woman is that girl is a young girl now. She's
You
a
think
young
she
woman.
ever turned into a rat in Louisville?
I hope not. I hope not. You know.
Yeah, Danny, you're not wrong, brother, as someone that's lived it.
I guess someone has orgasms, according to Larson.
Well, I think it's only human.
Yeah. Was Sunny a thought? I would say so.
It's a thought.
Thought is like a kind of like a hoe, kind of like another.
A bit. The sky is blue, too.
Yeah. So are we going into our,
I believe the main event's coming up next.
which was I'm pretty sure because I don't think Taker worked this match or this show. I'm sorry.
No. He might have done a dive.
I thought
match,
maybe Austin did something as a ringmaster with Savio, but I don't think
No.
they did.
but I think the pre-show match was the Duke and no, it was Jake and Tatanka.
Jake worked Tatanka.
Yep.
I wonder what that match was like. But Tatanka was heel, right?
Yes. Lawson, I don't know where Baboon is. Baboon was getting a little hot under the collar last night about the political stuff, which I'd rather stay away from.
What political stuff?
Yeah, with Russia and the Ukraine and
Last night?
yeah.
It is I'm just gonna say that's terrible, terrible circumstance over there.
Yeah, but we're here to talk wrestling and have fun. And
Tony, what would Tony have said about Russia?
Tony'd still be talking about it. Spitting.
It's chicken wings.
Even John Nord can't stand him. Dennis, how are you, my friend? Hope all is well wherever you may be.
Could you now let me ask this? Let's say he was moving from Fridley, Minnesota to a closer location. You know, like around
Nord?
here. Yeah, Nord. Let's say he was moving an hour away or
Yeah.
an hour and 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Close enough. Would you want him in the Tony spot of someone to come by every, a couple weeks or so, or you know what I mean?
As opposed to taping with him forever?
Yes.
It'd be easier, yeah.
But I think he could slide into that spot pretty well. I don't think he would ever move here.
No. I think it would have been a perfect spot for Just Incredible, but he wanted to do what he wanted to do. And let me tell you, for those that are interested in what has happened with Just Incredible, Tuesday during the New Jack Marathon, I hold nothing back when I open and close the show. I was in one of my moods. I was in pain, and I said, you know what? Fuck them.
Yeah. It's a shame because I just told you before we went on camera, Just Incredible had some really good episodes, really good stuff. I mean, was he a huge star? No, and he's not out there in a wacky way, but he was articulate. He was well-spoken. He had good stories. He was easy to follow. He was coherent. He had some good interviews. And I think people love to learn about ECW.
Yeah.
And even this era, he was Aldo still at this point.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And people still enjoyed that. So I think that he had a lot more to give. You could have had Just Incredible around for the next couple of years easily.
The door isn't locked. So, last time I talked to Sheiky Baby, my God, it's been a couple of years now. Probably in New York, the weekend of WrestleMania 35.
Do you think, by the way, Just Incredible, do you think he was a guy who could have been a bigger star, or do you think he got pretty lucky?
I think if ECW stayed in existence, he could have been a bigger star there. I think as far as WWF goes, no.
I think my opinion, it's very solid in-ring worker. Really liked his really solid in-ring worker. ECW, I think he was one of those guys. He was a good big fish in a small pond. He could do that well. I think drugs derailed a lot of his career because think of the people he had relationships with and who he knew, and he could have really been. I'm not saying he would have been world champion, but he could have sustained a little bit more of his career over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
Even out of the ring, he could have been a trainer. He could have been a guy doing different things. He would have had more success if it wasn't for drugs. And I think as far as a main eventer, ECW was the one place he was going to ever be a top guy.
Yeah.
So. I mean, he didn't have really much of a character. Just Incredible was just really just a guy, if you think about it.
He was the gimmick, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Other than his name.
Yeah, so. But to me, Just Incredible is just PJ turned up to 10. It really isn't much of a difference.
Well,
he was always nice to me.
As I say in the interview or the opening, he can wake up any day and decide to do the right thing. As we all can.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to my microphone. If I had left it in the other room, my God, could you imagine? Fridley's Finest wouldn't have been happy with me. He enjoyed Frosties. He admitted it.
I'll give him a call later this week.
What are you going to talk to John Nord about?
Different things. We could talk
Like
about
what?
Anything, really. We could talk about stories. He loves talking about the Minnesota boys. We could talk about cars. We could talk about Frosties. We could talk about our mutual feelings on you, which run kind of parallel, funny enough.
To know me is to love me.
Something like that. Well, I think you're a very interesting man. I'll put it that way. I've written about you, actually, in my journal.
Really?
Yes.
There's a Charlie Wilson journal.
I'll make entries once in a while, and I've written about Dan.
I'd love to know what it said.
Dan's an interesting man. I've written.
That was it.
Well, I've elaborated on it.
Yeah. That's interesting. And
Not burying you in my journal.
thank you.
You know, not really. Just writing the truth.
Well, if that's the case, I don't think there's that much bad to write.
Not really. Not a lot of bad. I wrote something about what you once said. I'm like, sounds like a jilted lover. Jesus Christ, I got to erase some of this
Said
stuff.
what?
Sounds like a jilted lover. It's like, Dan's interesting. I don't know where we stand right now, but I'm learning about him.
Really?
He seems really nice. This was early on.
I'm disappointed that you didn't feel like you knew where you stood with old Dan Marotti.
Well, you're kind of an elusive fellow.
Everyone says that. Or
You know?
especially Viking Raider Ivar sums it up as the king of kayfabe.
You are. I could be like, Dan, what are you doing in New York? I got to meet some people. I got to do some things.
Well, I do. Not lying.
I got to have, and it's not that you're lying. It's just that I could ask you, like, literally, like, hey, I heard you signed with Vince. What's the terms of the contract? Well, I can't really say right now, Charlie.
And I never would.
Yeah. I can't
People
really
have asked me how much I made back then, and I'd never answer that question. It's no
even in
one's-
2000.
It's no one's really concern other than mine and Uncle Sam.
Would you make more now?
Oh, yeah. The fans at home, are you disappointed in John C. Manicus Riley?
No, John C. has a life.
Johnny, you're still watching. Are you here?
Actually, I got to say this. I've grown to like C a little bit more.
Since he was one of my interns here at the studio, I like C. Lawson, thank you so much, brother. We're glad we can provide you with a little entertainment.
Phil DeCesare says, keeping it close to the vest is refreshing in this day of look at me.
Tell him, Phil. Tell him, brother.
Yeah.
Look at me. I don't want anyone to look at me. I want to be left alone.
Danny. Yeah, Credible was the top guy during last year in ECW. Chris Steve says you should use some of Rob Van Dam's topical CBD cream.
I'd like to know, and if the fan is out here, a fan sent me a gift, and I would like to thank them publicly, but I just want to make sure it was them, because I think I know who it is, but I'm not 100% sure if I remember it right. But you guys, as I note in the tirade I go on about Just Incredible Tuesday, I note how important you guys are in the nature of what we do, because if there aren't you, there is no us. There is no Back to the 80s, Saturday night, April the 16th at Memorial Hall in Melrose.
Is it me or does Cornette look older than what he was here?
A little.
Looked a little older than what he was. Also, I think it's the time he started gaining weight.
Oh, he's only in his mid-30s. So, yeah, he does look a little older.
He's starting to gain weight around here, too, I think. Look at the paunch, the newt. Does he have a newt?
Don't say that too loud either, or there could be another explosion. An angry man.
He was very... Has that been uploaded yet?
No, I haven't had time to get to it. I've been so... just to try and catch up after losing 3 days of production, because we had John all day, it takes a lot of work. And I mean, I've put in 12-hour days this week, which is why I think I'm in so much pain.
John says you're working him hard. And he says that you're kind of a little bit of a taskmaster, like Kevin said.
Well,
he says he likes to have some food during the day. And he feels
he likes a little snack.
You don't get him any snacks, nothing?
Well,
he doesn't know the terrain around here.
He would send over John C. next door to Dunkin' Donuts and get him a little something.
Okay, but you couldn't call in a pizza for John Nord.
Well, he didn't say he wanted one. I'm not a mind reader.
Ask him.
I didn't eat any pizza.
Would you like something to eat?
No one asked me if I wanted anything to eat.
Well, you're the host.
I'm tired of being in charge of everything and everyone.
Oh.
These fucking people want something to eat. Call an order.
They don't know the places around here.
Google it.
John doesn't know how to use Google.
Not one, but 2 smartphones for some reason.
He doesn't know. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? I don't know what he's hiding.
Catch my backup.
Yeah, he's the plug.
Like he's a fucking CIA operative or something. John Nord.
Now, I could see Marty having 2 phones, but John Nord.
Marty needs even more than 2.
But I think Nord coming in before April 16th would be fine. But it's up to you.
It's just from what we need and what we're going to get in April. I think he's almost the last one.
So if he was coming to April and coming in April, would would it be then like in May he'd come back or June?
It really all depends on where we are on the episode list. I'm thinking by April, after he's here in April.
October, easily, right?
I'm just trying to think of how far in we'd probably be, episode. We'd probably be pretty close to the end of the summer.
No, it might be October, Dan.
No.
Because
he's only doing one full day and then a couple of hours on the Friday.
Oh, so
he's not here for 2 full days.
So
because we got there on that Friday, we have Berzerker, Axe, and Smash.
Let's call it end of August then, or even
mid-September. Probably SummerSlam. Well, no, SummerSlam's in July. So where SummerSlam would usually
late
be.
August or September.
Yeah.
So that means he'd be coming back again probably in July or August.
Ridley's finest. Maybe we should have the John Nord 4th of July party. Set up a grill outside in front of the studio. Would you guys like a John Nord 4th of July bash?
Could you imagine him in a Melrose Park? And then Lou walks by, him and Lou.
Oh, could you imagine him yelling at Lou? Lou would cry.
Oh, God.
Wimpy would be sending legal letters to John Nord and Fridley. You scared the bird seed-sized teeth out of my client.
So he'd come. So, yeah. So we'll probably have Nord in April. We'll have him in April and then probably sometime in the summer.
What about the 4th of July party?
Where are we
could
gonna
put a little grill out front. You just put John with no shirt on, just sitting there. See if anyone recognizes him when he walks by, having a burger. I'm not much of a grill master, though, I'll be honest.
I could try it a little bit.
Do you know the grill?
I've worked my way around the grill.
Rastani could drive down on the bike. The two of them could sit there and get some sun.
In like little plastic folding chairs?
He could tan his newt. Yeah. I think the fans would enjoy it.
You know, I got to say for Quincy, after our discussion, it didn't really help his case when you made fun of his newt and then the newt popped out.
It's like a little kangaroo pouch. There's a few things that get him going. The newt, Patera, running around naked before the shower.
I was doing that. I was going to do that before my shower. Then Phil called me.
You were going to run through the house like a running back in football nude with your clothes?
I should have done that while talking to Phil on the phone.
Who said that you didn't?
Yeah, that's true.
There we go. Brett the Hitman Hart getting ready for his final championship defense.
The match with Diesel, where Diesel was talking about the finish with him, and he said, yeah, it makes me look weak if I take the jackknife. And I got to be honest with you. I understand Brett's point of view when I read his book, but I got to agree with Big Daddy on this one. I think he should have taken the jackknife and made it look like he was going to lose. Because Brett's already...
He was on his way out for quite some time after WrestleMania.
You know, and I'll be honest with you, too. I think this, when you're already made and established, you can take some... You can take a little bit of
some jobs.
You can do some jobs. You can be buried a little bit. Brett was already made. Like, you didn't have to...
He was like Phil on this show. He's already made.
You know, it's going to help out. And I know if Brett had his tables reversed and he was in Diesel's spot, he would want to make it look like he was going to win. So I think, I have no problem with Diesel on that one.
Well, fans, if you are a Brett, I'm going to find the link and put it on here.
Big D was right on that one.
The John Nord shoot interview this week on Montreal and Bret Hart, Vince, and Shawn Michaels. You'll love the episode.
And really, I think Brett, I read his book, loved it. You talked about it.
Excellent book.
You talked about almost going to WCW 96. I think he should have gone to WCW 96. He would have made so much money. He should have gone to WCW 96.
Yeah, they would have used him like shit then.
But he would have made that money. And in this business, it's about one thing, baby. It's about the money.
He wasn't making too much less in WWE.
It was a huge contract for 4 years or 3 years. He would have made so much more in just 3 years.
7 to 4.5.
We made so much. And you know what? Two things are real in this business, the money and the miles.
Okay, Captain Lou.
Hey, it's true.
Not Lou Data.
It's true. You know, I know you called me a little bit of a money whore one time.
Never.
You called me, yeah. You were
When?
Insinuated about a payoff back in the day.
Oh.
And
people just need to be realistic about what professional wrestling is. Everybody wants to work in WWE. Go work for their percentages and see what you make.
Do you have a problem with someone who said, like, I'll say this, and maybe you've been around this a lot longer than me, so you know way more than me. Have you seen guys bitch and bitch to the point where they don't like what they're getting paid, but they still stay around?
Yeah.
Do you at least respect the guys who bitch and say, all right, if that's the way it's going to be, I'm just going to leave? At least they actually do. At least they decide to leave.
I think people need to understand, and the problem is the wrestling schools don't know how to teach it because they don't know. I think guys, when they break into the business, need to learn how the finances behind it work. Anyone can say, geez, I want X amount, or geez, I think I'm worth X amount.
Says, if I'm not going to get it,
if you're not on events that are drawing it, and you're not doing anything to help it, you're not worth it.
But so,
I mean, that's just reality. That's not to hurt someone's feelings.
So if they say, well, screw it, then I'm just not going to do it. At least they say, hey, I'm not going to do it. At least they.
I think everybody should, if they're in a promotion that's tried to do something with them, invested time and/or money in them, I think they should always do business the right way on the way out, which was my problem with Brett and the whole Survivor Series thing. You know, put someone over, make someone else, and part on good terms, because you never know what might happen in the future.
That makes sense. I mean, thankfully you don't have anything going on like that right now with you and your promotion. I don't think there's any of that issue going on.
Well, we're getting ready to reintroduce the championship in a whole new way. So no, we really don't. But if it was someone we had around and, you know, it was someone that we put a lot of time into, I would expect that courtesy because it's a courtesy I would give to them. As far as what they think they're worth financially, I could always say, you know what, there's a table. Go sell all the pictures and T-shirts you want of your own and tell me how much you made and have in your pocket. You know what I mean? That shows that you're over, that you have the fan, the consumer that's willing to spend money specifically on you.
Well, I think too, especially if you're a guy, and I know you've done this a little bit, if you're willing to say to a talent who's maybe 500-600 miles away, I'm going to pay for your hotel.
Yeah.
I'm going to pay for your flights. I'm not going to give you a ton of money for the show, but I'm going to pay your way out of here. And you as a talent can say, am I going to lose any money on this? And if you're not, and you're going to get experience, and maybe you could get somewhere else, I think it's a win. I think it's a win. I think you'd agree on that. I think it's a win. Now, if you're a guy who's losing money to get here and you're paying in gas and tolls and whatever, all right.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, when you go to college, do you pay to go to college and learn?
You do.
And get experience?
You do. But I think people say this is like a business, so you have to treat it as a business as well. And you can't just be losing money. But at
this level, that's just being a mock for yourself and not understanding the nature of the beast. Unless you see a promotion that is making big money, selling thousands of tickets, what have you contributed to the gross?
No, I understand
to spread around to give and pay the boys?
Dan, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying at one point, can you sit there and say, well, I can't do this and lose money anymore? When you start out.
But you have to. When you go to, is Harvard going to say, come on in for free? Let me pay you to come and learn?
No. As a wrestler, for the wrestlers out there that are watching this, how long into your career do you have to say, wow, I guess I can't lose money anymore?
When you can sell fucking tickets.
So that could be a year, that could be 10.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's all I wanted you to say.
I misunderstood, I guess.
You know, because I know.
So what it comes down to, do you have any value to the show?
I've had talks with wrestlers where it's like, they're like, well, we're told to pay dues, but we're also told that it's a business and we should treat it as a business. I said, that's the thing. You have to find a line. Like, to me, and part of the reason why I didn't commit to wrestling, and maybe this is just me not liking it enough, I didn't feel like driving 4 hours for a $50 payoff and then having to maybe, you know, drive 4 or 5 hours back in the middle of the night for it. I just didn't feel like doing it. If you
weren't even worth the 50, though, how do you complain?
But see, it's because it's time. That's how I looked at it. But that's not.
And I'm not disagreeing with that necessarily. Yeah. But what I have always looked at it as the WWF payment method as it was taught to me when I was there. And it granted, should it have been higher? You can make that argument greatly. But I think that's the structure that makes sense to me. The promoter that's putting the most time and work and effort and energy into an event should not be losing money. Should they be profiting if the event doesn't draw? No. Should the talent be making more than them? No. Should the talent be treated fairly with a fair percentage? Absolutely. Absolutely. Larson wants $12 an hour.
Well, here's
I can't afford you, Larson. You're too expensive, brother.
well, here's what I mean too. Like, let's say you've got someone helping out with your show.
Yeah.
And they're here all day, and they go to the building.
Yeah.
Would you're not paying them an hourly rate,
Right.
but they might look at that as an hourly rate because they're putting so many hours.
That's not how this works.
I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying that's how the real world people, because
Oh, of
wrestling's a
course.
weird bubble,
Right.
you know?
I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying that's not how this works.
So how would it work? How would you explain that to someone the best way?
I would sit them down and explain to them everything that is done is based upon what is drawn on the gross. You have to subtract all your expenses before you even get to the talent, unless it is a WWE known marquee talent that gets a guarantee.
Mhm.
You have thousands, well, if you do it right, thousands of dollars in advertising. You have a venue you have to pay. You have a ring you have to pay. You have an insurance you have to pay. You have a police officer that you have to pay.
Mhm.
And that all those things are long before you even get to talent.
Right. But you still have to pay the people who help you, I think. Because then how are you going to get that help the next time? That's just good business sense, I think.
If there's no money left after you go through those expenses, what do you pay them with?
Then I guess that you get. Can you expect them to be there next time? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, as a promoter, how do you tackle these things? Those are serious issues, I think.
You have to have a passion to want to do it. If you don't, it's not the industry for you. Is
Okay.
the most honest answer I can give. Unless if it could ever get back to the day of the shows being guaranteed sold shows, then you know exactly how much you're going to make, how much of a budget you're working with before the event even begins. But there were so many scumbags, sleazebags that were allowed to run rampant and promote, say, the late 90s into the early 2000s, that robbed nonprofits blind and screwed people over and left ill will with certain venues.
Sold shows, you go to.
What's that?
I just want to make sure people at home. Sold shows, let's say you go to like a local Kiwanis club or an Elks Lodge, and they say, hey, we'll give you X amount to run a show here. And then you split the
Along
profit.
those lines. Or
Okay.
like a Pop Warner football league says, we want to do a fundraiser. And you go, okay, well, just say $5,000 and you keep 100% of the ticket sales. Then you know you have $5,000 to work with from A to Z on that show. What you're going to pay yourself.
And if you drew
and all your
8,000,
that doesn't make a difference if it's a sold show. That's on the folks running
but
it.
if you drew 8,000 or 3,000,
It doesn't make a difference.
doesn't make a difference.
Get the same flat rate.
$5,000 is in there, and then you could pay your people based off that.
You pay off. And that's how Tony Rumble was so successful. Most of his events were sold shows.
Did you get any big payoffs from Rumble, or not at that point because you were?
What I would consider a big payoff in wrestling, or what I would consider a big payoff in life?
Either or.
In wrestling, yeah, for a high school kid, I was happy.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, would I compare it to other work? No. But I always had my eye on the prize, which wasn't to ring the bell or play the music or, do web work and promotional activity for him.
And you know what? I know we've talked about this too with a certain individual with some teeth that are a little bit smaller. I think that was part of that issue too. They felt they should have been compensated for a certain amount, and you made the point. You're just out of school. You have no experience. You're not good at any of this. Why would we even pay you to do this? If anything, you should be doing this for free to get your experience, and then you could charge people.
And at the same time, like the professor's point was, that's not what this studio is for.
Right.
He should not have been paid anything.
Yeah. I get that. I understand your point of view. And
It's not my point of view. It's
I
bylaws of the studio.
No.
He should be paid zero,
So why?
no matter how much work he did.
So you don't think, even if he did a great job, you don't think you would have paid him anything for those different projects that he did? Because I know that was a big thing for him. He felt he was being taken advantage of, and I'm not saying I agree with him.
All I can do is repeat what I just said. It's not what the studio is for. It's not what it is financed for. It is not what it is. Bylaws are intended for. It's not what its board of directors has it set up for. It is not meant for someone like Lou to monetarily benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say this. I never liked the concept of a cage match where the winner can win by getting out of
Walking
the
out
cage.
the door.
I hate it. Because guess what? If I kick you hard enough in the face and I walk out, I should be able to walk out. You have to basically stop selling and come grab me. The cage should be two people are stuck and they beat the crap out of each other until one person beats the other and leaves.
I never understood the
That should be the
WWE
cage.
method of that. The cage, you know, the primary reason for it was to keep the two guys in so they couldn't get away from each
Or
other.
keeps other people
Not
out.
have the finish be, let me climb out or
Yeah.
let me crawl out or walk out even. No, I agree with you on that.
Just completely goes against logic. But Nash and Bret had good chemistry. They both liked each other, I think, personally. Kind of a weird relationship, I've heard.
They don't seem to be the biggest fans of each other now.
As people, I think.
Well, Bret maybe more so critical of Nord than vice versa, but
I mean, Nash. See, but right there, Bret could have easily dropped down.
what do you mean? Oh, yeah, jump down to win the match?
Yeah, but he doesn't, you know.
And that's another thing. When they're almost over, and then, he grabs him by the hand.
Yeah.
And they climb up and climb back in. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it makes it look fake. And these
No.
guys were great workers. Bret was great. Nash was decent for what he could do.
Which wasn't much.
Wasn't much, but to be fair, he came in the business with 2 bad knees, and he was a little older at that time. Anyway, he was like 30.
Right now?
No.
No.
I think here he was like 36.
He's
maybe.
pushing. He's closer to 40 than 30.
Yeah. Though to be fair to Nash, you wouldn't know it by looking at him. He looked
No,
young.
he kept himself in great condition.
Same with Bret. Funny enough, if you look at Bret and Shawn, they're like 8 years apart, but they looked fairly close in age. I think Diesel looked younger than Taker, or just about the same age, and Taker is much younger, or 6 years younger, or whatever. But that's why people say, "Oh, is age a big thing in wrestling?" I don't think so, because not all 4-year-olds are the same. Some guys look really old, and some guys aged well, and some guys didn't. I'm pretty sure you've seen wrestlers who are 35 and they look like dog shit, and you'll see guys who are 45, they look tremendous.
Hold on one sec.
No problem. See right there, it's like you could just walked out. That's why I can't stand the cage match.
What about Big Daddy Cool DeSanto?
DeSanto?
Yeah.
Who's DeSanto?
Big Daddy Cool DeSanto?
Cool Papa Bell?
No, Big Daddy Cool DeSanto.
I don't know who that is.
Well, he carried MHS in the new generation with his DeSanto power gloves. But,
I thought you were talking about Cool Papa Bell, who...
Cool Pop is a good man. That hopefully, and should be there April 16th, but...
Doing what?
Helping with in any capacity.
Oh, he probably won't be there. He'll probably go to a Red Sox game that day.
He better not be. We need the Cool Pop.
Have you talked to Papa Bell?
In the off season of baseball, I don't hear from him as much.
I don't think he'll be there April 16th, but maybe he will. Maybe Cool Papa Bell will be there in November.
Why do you say that, out of curiosity?
Maybe. Well, there's going to be a November show for sure.
There is?
Well, isn't there always a November show? Is this going
It's
to
a
be
different world.
Uh-oh. Hit the dirt sheet. Samurai saying April 16th is the last WWF show of all time.
No, not at all. I don't know if there's going to be one in November.
I thought that's when you like to run, for an anniversary, that's when you like to run it.
Well, our anniversary is technically September 28th, so.
But you don't like running in September? Are there months you like to run and months you don't?
I don't like winter months, which is pretty obvious.
Right. So December to February is a no-go.
I think the summertime, people like to be outdoors and active around this area with there's so few months where you can be active. This market is kind of a tough one. I think there's as many good months to run as there are bad months.
So if you were to put the good, what are good? So give me the 6 good months.
I'll tell you off the air.
Okay. I
I
kind of
don't
have
want
an
to
idea.
give away my book of secrets.
I kind of have an idea of what months you like to run anyway, but if I had a,
there's really only
there's
only 4
yeah, I could.
that I would say yes.
And I think I know the 4
if it was
too.
up to me.
I think I know the 4 too. But
all right, well, you're a smart man. I wouldn't be shocked at all.
at least I could come close to it.
It's not like Fridley. Will we have the big event in Fridley in 2022?
What could you run? You know, to be fair, is Minnesota an athletic commission state?
I don't think he was quite sure, to be honest.
I mean, Vern ran there for years.
Well,
that
okay, they've been out of business for 30 years now.
That's
A
true.
lot of commissions have just gone into hibernation, like Maine's.
You mean so it doesn't? So there's no more commission, or there is a commission? In
there
Maine?
is not.
There's not.
No, more of them go away. None of that. I can't think of any that have popped up.
So there's more states without it than.
Oh yeah.
So
no need for them. They don't commission anything.
now, do they still charge? Now you told me like they'll charge you $25.
It's different in every state. Every
Well,
state
this
has
is what I
their
mean.
own rules and
Will
regulations.
a commission charge the same? Let's say Louisiana has a commission, right? Will a commission charge the same for a little indie show in some small town as it will for WrestleMania in New Orleans?
Even that varies.
Really?
It's different. Yep. I like this spot an awful lot.
See, but to me, Nash could have still pulled himself out.
Coulda.
You know, but and then Brett just goes over the top because I guess I got to make it look cooler.
I don't know why there was smoke under the
Now,
ring.
if
but
you were if you were in a different market, what's the best market to run year round in your mind? South,
somewhere down south.
Florida, Georgia, that kind of area. Carolinas, Texas.
Florida, I would be a little worried about once NXT hits the road again.
Oh, maybe Texas.
But it all depends on the type of event you're going to run. I mean, NXT live events certainly don't feature the type of talent that we have. You might say they have better talent in some ways, but it's primarily superstars of the future. If we were bringing back to the 80s to Florida, we'd be drawing a different crowd than an NXT house show would for the most part. You'd think.
John Wills says, being a history buff, Boston is on my visit list one day, plus a trip to Fenway Park.
There you go.
Well, Fenway
you sound like John Nord.
Fenway is a piece of history already.
I thought you were going to say it was a piece of garbage.
No, it's got character, as my mom would say. My mom, Mrs. Wilson, likes the older houses because they have character.
Unlike Lou, who has none.
She still loves Lou.
No,
but she has
the only thing I don't like about her.
But she has a special... she has been a student, so she has a special affiliation.
When you told her that the teeth were birdseed sized, did she remember them?
I did not say anything of that.
Why?
Nature. I don't think that's the.
I'd love to see what she thinks about that.
I don't know. I don't like to make fun of them. I think it's
well, it's more of a fact than making fun.
Well, I still think it's making fun of someone.
Why?
It's saying you got small teeth. That's not.
Well, if it's a fact, it's not making fun of them.
How would I feel if I called you a piece of garbage? If it was
that's an opinion about my personality. Saying that he has teeth the size of birdseed is a fact.
You make fun of Quincy's newt. We all know he's got a newt.
Well, again, that's a fact. That's not an opinion.
It hurts his feelings.
I don't think he understands what it means. He doesn't know who. Do you think Quincy knows who Newt Gingrich is?
No, but he knows. You calling his stomach a newt.
Well, it was a Christie for a while. Before he slimmed Chris Christie in New Jersey. He got big after when he was stuck in for coronavirus.
I will say this. If I ever have to drop him off one day, I kind of want to yell as he's walking the house, say hello to Patera for me as I should. Huh?
Loudly. I'd like to steal that sign on the front lawn that says Bristani on it and put it on our set. But he'd
Right,
be
right
furious.
near
Yeah.
Welcome Back.
Right next to Welcome Back Hall, have the sign that says, Rustani, it looks like the frozen screen. We are all done. We have raged in the cage, baby.
So giving it a 1 out of 10. What are you gonna give it?
I'll give it a 7. I enjoyed the show. I thought it was short, sweet, to the point, which is what I liked about In Your Houses. It got the job done, setting up a few key matches for WrestleMania, the 6-man, Shawn and Brett, Diesel and Undertaker, which obviously were the 2 marquee matches on that show. You had the reintroduction of Piper, who had played a pretty big role at WrestleMania in his Hollywood backlot match, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Yeah, I thought it was effective. It wasn't it wasn't meant to be a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series.
Yep.
It served its purpose as a middle of the road show. I thought it was very good.
Okay. 6
What
and a half.
about you?
6.5. My halves. I'm a half and half guy. I know. But not a bad show. It was just okay, I thought. Match of the night was probably, I really liked Razor and Kid. Owen and Shawn was good too. Those are probably the 2 best matches. But I don't remember a match being bad. Yoko and Davey
I'd
was...
say, yeah, so I was going to say, if you had to pick a worse match, I probably would go with that. And that really wasn't horrid. It was just,
Yoko.
you could tell Yoko was declining.
Yeah, it was definitely more Yoko than Davey. I mean, Davey went on to have 2 great matches with Shawn that year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We might
Very good.
we might do those one of those papers
Why not?
in May and June.
96, I think, even though there was a lot of nonsense and a lot of garbage, and they weren't doing huge TV ratings, and the pay-per-views weren't all that much to write home about. But live attendance was one thing that did start to pick up a little bit over 94 and 95. And that's the barometer where you can tell where business stands. Because if someone is willing to spend time and money to go to a live event as opposed to watching it for free on TV, that says to me that you're doing something right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One man's opinion, but that was always WWF's philosophy when I was there too. But guys, as we start to wrap it up, let CW know what you think on a scale of 1 to 10 about In Your House, Rage in the Cage as I go wrap things up, because we don't have that wild animal with animal-like hair, John C.
I'll wait for your
Manicus
clap
Riley.
to take us off air. But folks, let us know what you think. 1 to 10,
And
10
what did
being
you
the
think
best.
of the show? The super chat button's working. Don't forget,
That is also
Larson
working.
can't be the only one.
And we're just going to wait for the big Dan Marotti clap. Not the clap he has often from his female friends, but just the big clap.
I don't have any friends.
Yeah, that's true. His friends are limited. But we're going to be waiting for that big clap. And folks, join us next Sunday when we'll do a different show. We'll have to talk about a show. It's March, so you know what that means. Mania time, maybe. 7 for Chris Steves. What else do we have here? The sign? Welcome Back Hall? Welcome Back Hall, like the WrestleMania sign. But folks, have a good night. Stay well. See you next Sunday. As we're waiting for the cue. Again, I hope you guys had a good time. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Whenever we see you, which will be next Sunday. And then for Dan Marotti, for Charlie Wilson, for Fred Lee